when you finally go into the afterlife, or as we say now, when you die and go into the afterlife, that's when the moment of truth comes. In the moment of truth is where you enter the hall of judgment, as you will see on the papyrus of Ani. Now, our illustration here, we have someone called Ani describing his experience once he went into the afterlife. You enter into the passage of judgment and you're led by a man with the head of a jackal called Anubis. Yeah. Now, Anubis has the head of a jackal because a jackal is believed to be a very intelligent animal because it knew when to hide, meat or how to bury meat, when to remove it before other, scavengers came and got the meat. So that's why Anubis led you into the passage of judgment. Okay. Anubis is holding an ankh. The concept of the cross that we now have in Christianity especially came from the ankh that Anubis is holding. And that ankh was also believed to be a symbol of life because it's shaped like the organs of a man and a woman interceding or connecting to give life. For lack of a better phrase, we'll say it symbolizes sexual intercourse because that gives life generally. So when a man and a woman meet, they give life. And so in Africa, 1 + 1 is not equal to 2. It is 3, 4, 5, as many children as you can give birth to. Our friend Annie is led to the scale, and his heart is weighed against the feather of truth, which is an ostrich feather. This scale is important because this is where the concept that we have today in the justice system being represented by scales was got from this papyrus of Ani or ancient Kemet. Yeah, this is where they get the concept of representing justice by scales. The phrase of having a heavy heart also came from this because it was believed that once you passed, it was the heart that they chose to weigh on the scale against the feather of truth, because the heart was believed or considered to be the seed of emotion, memory, and intelligence. That's where we get that phrase of having a heavy heart, because the heart stores all this information. The scale is manipulated by Anku, as you can see, and just after the scale is a monster called Amit, who is ready to eat your soul if your heart does not balance against the feather of truth. Now, Anku is part hippopotamus, part crocodile, part leopard. That's probably where we get the concept of Satan. So now, above all this is what we call Necharu, the place where the angels or the assessors sit. And these assessors are the ones who, once you go, into the afterlife, or once you go into the passage of judgment, you make the 42 declarations of innocence. And in these 42 declarations, you would say, "O Holy One of Tehut, I've not robbed anyone, I've not eavesdropped on anyone's conversation, I've not, diverted a river from its course, I've not polluted the river Nile." And you would make all 42, confessions of innocence or declarations of innocence in front of these assessors. It's from these 42 declarations of innocence that Moses got the 10 commandments. And I think if Moses was in a class, that wouldn't even be 30%, or that wouldn't even be a pass mark, 50%. I think they have, reduced the number of commandments to 2 now, is it? I think the Christians out there can correct me, but all of it comes from this part of the papyrus of Ani. And that just goes to show how morally upright the Africans were. Those 42 declarations are written down in the book of deeds by Thor, and Thor was sometimes called Jehuti, the god of writing sacred texts, mathematics. Jehuti is the one who noted everything down from the 42 declarations of innocence. And from this book of deeds is where we get the concept of writing down sinners, or I don't know, in Christianity I hear something to do with writing, don't remove my name from the book of sinners and put it in the book of... The concept came from this part of the papyrus. Ani was fortunate that his heart was not heavier than the feather of truth. So he was led to the sun god, or the son of God, Ra, who is part cheetah and part falcon, to the throne of the creator and savior Osiris. And as you can see, Osiris is holding a shepherd's crook, Frey, and the crown he's wearing is where we get the concept of your Pope today, who is advocating for homosexuality. The concept of the crown that the Pope wears comes from the risen savior Osiris. So behind Osiris is his wife Osiris and the sister Nephthys, who the Bible represents as Joseph and Mary. From the brief description that we've had of the papyrus of Ani, I'm sure you can tell that, the Bible and most of these other books of religion are simply a reproduction of the system of belief that we had already in Africa. Let's look at a few other examples that will indicate to you that everything that you see on this earth is just a reproduction of what we already had in Africa. I'll give you an example of Jesus. The character of Jesus is found in so many other religions. For example, I don't know if you guys know Krishna. Krishna did everything that Jesus did, died and rose again, had 12 disciples, was born by, a virgin mother. Krishna did all this 3,000 years before Jesus Christ. That means 3,000 years before Christianity, and maybe another 5,000 years before Islam came to the world. It's not only Krishna. We have Zoroaster. He also did the same things, exactly the same things as Jesus did. Died and rose again after 3 days. You can go and research this. Zoroaster was also born by a virgin. Then we have already talked about Heru, and his story is very similar to that of Jesus Christ. We talked about Osiris, who was murdered by his evil brother Seth, who was from a place called Ani. And from that, we have the concept of Setani. So what are we saying in conclusion? If you look at the world today, religion has been used to divide us. So you'll see Christians not agreeing with Muslims and always being at loggerheads. But if you look at, how we, as Africans, how we viewed the concept of religion, we used religion to bring people together. Now, if you look at what we did with religion before 1492, you go to cities like Sevilla in Spain, where we built a mosque and a church together. We used religion to bring people together, which is not what they've done today. So as we conclude and argue about, religion is who is right, who will go to heaven and who will not go to heaven. If now you look at the origin, the roots of religion, you will agree with me that all of us agree that there's one God. We use different names to call God, but we all agree that there's one God. We all subscribe to the same God. So there's no need for this division. Once we accept that, I think we'll be better for it. So anyway, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. TikTok, hit the plus sign over here. Let's have a conversation. Let me know in the comments what you think about religion. From your religion or from what you believe, is there something that sticks out from the papyrus of Ani that you found in your religion? I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.